My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
We acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognise their continuing connection to land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Welcome to This Song Is Yours, a podcast where we dive deep into the world of songwriting and music. I'm your host, Simon Fink, and our guest on the podcast today is Australian rapper and all-around sweetheart, Allday. The South Australian-born, currently London-based hip-hop veteran just released his 5th record last week, titled The Necklace. This new record marks a return to hip-hop for the genre-defying musician, following his indie exploration on his last album, Drinking With My Smoking Friends. Now, The Necklace is a standout in Allday's career and effortlessly blends genres and showcases Allday at his lyrical best. Heartfelt, boundary-pushing, honest, gritty and cinematic in scope all at once, this album is sure to stand out. Now, in today's episode, we're chatting with Allday about The Necklace and his return to a more hip-hop focused sound. We discuss the natural evolution of his artist project and how he continues to push new ideas and sonics. We also talk about some of the incredible guests that are featured on this record, including YNG Martyr and Cub Sport, and how these collaborations came to be. Plus, we dive into his upcoming Australian tour and how he's excited to bring these songs to life on stage. Now, we want to give a massive thank you to Marie for her help with today's episode and remind everyone to grab a copy of The Necklace on vinyl and check out all of Allday's tour dates. You can find the details for both in today's show notes. While you're there, don't forget to follow us and subscribe to this very podcast. Now, let's get into it. Here is our conversation with Allday.
When you told me you were in uni, but you only go Friday and Tuesday. Took you out for dinner and a movie. You gotta pay half, cough it up like a loogie. My associate could have been Nobu, just because I
Please welcome to This Song Is Yours, Allday.
Thank you.
Hello, sir. How are we?
Very good. It's a cold day in Melbourne. And yeah, I'm well. How are you?
Doing very well, thank you. Thank you so much for asking. Yeah, it does appear to be a bit cold all over the country at the moment. I can see that you're wearing a jumper, wearing a cardigan. It's kind of that rugging up season at the moment. How do you usually stay warm when you find yourself with the cold?
The love of a good woman and a cat. I don't know what the answer is. I just feel guilty that I went immediately into weather chat. I see the Waxahachie vinyl behind you. I must commend you.
There is. Love that. Yeah. Did you get into that record?
Yeah, I'm sick for Waxahachie.
Look, I might not have guessed that from the get-go. I know obviously you never want to generalize with a person's influences, but I'm surprised that the Waxahachie was maybe the one that kind of jumped out.
Well, I also like the new Maggie Rogers. So yeah, I'm a fan of a couple of those albums you got there. What's top left?
That one, Slater Kinney.
Okay, yeah. That's beyond me. That's too far into the indie realm.
Well, I'm kind of glad you've brought up the indie realm. We are chatting today about a brand new record of yours that has come out this week. It's called The Necklace. It is the 5th studio record from yourself. Firstly, congratulations on this record. How are you feeling with this record coming out now?
Yeah, really good. I mean, just amazed that I've gotten to 5 albums. It's just a blessing. And yeah, just keep cooking, keep moving.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely love that. Do they give, what is it? I think for 10th wedding anniversaries, they give you it's meant to be a platinum or a paper gift. Is there anything for 5?
5 albums?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, but I think I'll be expecting something from my manager. Maybe if you're signed to Lil Wayne or whatever, he used to give you a car.
Yeah,
you know.
So maybe we'll manifest that today for the 5th album. But I wanted to, I guess, we're talking about indie music. This brand new record of yours, it has come out this week, and it kind of sees a return to form of sorts. I know that there was like a dabbling, or that there was kind of a bit of a, I guess, a step into indie music and indie pop music for that previous record, Drinking With My Smoking Friends. But this one kind of sees a bit of a return to form back to hip-hop and rap. But I feel like you've brought a few little elements of that indie music back as well. For you, was that kind of the goal with this record, to be able to have a return to form but bring along what you've also learned in the last number of years?
Yeah, I guess so. I think each album I've kind of, not even consciously, but tried to do things that were a little beyond me when I started the album, and then went through even if it's like a small thing, like singing something that's a little bit out of my ability, or writing in a style that wasn't natural to me. So I guess I wasn't consciously thinking, I'll bring the indie stuff in, but it all just sort of comes with you, everything you've done, because it becomes your little arsenal.
100%. We've been talking to artists lately about that kind of, I guess, intention or lack thereof when it does come to like building a record. For The Necklace, was there a goal that you kind of set out to achieve in terms of like an overarching, I want to say like manifesto for the record, or was it as you kind of created these songs and worked with different producers that the songs just kind of, I guess, appeared in the form that you wanted it to in terms of cohesive sense?
I think the first thing when I started was like, maybe just make rap. I think the concept, actually the sentence that affected me a lot was the producer Simon Lamb, who's done a lot with me. He sort of said, you're supposed to be this rapper, but you're always diverting away from rap, or subverting it to the point that like where's the actual rap? Like, where's the thing that you're like, it's been years since you've even done it. So I think the original intention was like, just get back to the genre itself. And then as I went along sort of like thematically, I started thinking, well, maybe I'm talking about things that are not necessarily, I'm not being reflected in the best light, or I'm sort of admitting flaws and this. And then I sort of thought, all right, well then go with that. And that's when The Necklace as a concept was sort of born.
I love that. And as you mentioned, you've worked with Simon Lamb for this record, who you have worked with previously. And I know he has like an interesting production resume, if you will. I know that he's obviously worked on The Necklace. He worked on another brilliant actually, if I move my head, the glare is in the way, but the Phoebe Go record I know that he worked on as well, which is incredible. Amazing. Kind of indie records. Yeah, he's got a very broad set of skills when it comes to that. How does that working relationship with Simon kind of work?
Well, we started working in 2019. I just loved Chloe, which was his band. They're sort of making stuff again now, but he's been producing for a lot of other people, and now he sort of found himself good with the indie kind of work with his own band Armlock, and then Phoebe Go, and then he just does rap for me. Really, I feel like he does a little bit of rap, but yeah, I guess his sensibility, I just think he has an ear for what's cool, so I sort of trust that side, and I maybe veer a little bit more tasteless than him at times, a bit more pop.
That's very cool though. Like, in terms of how the songs will come together, is that you kind of get different bits and pieces from him and then put it together with what you've maybe jotted down in a notebook, or you've saved like a line here and there?
Like lyrically, or
yes, yeah.
Lyrically, like I do all the lyrics, and he'll basically make the beats. Sometimes I flip a sample myself, or bring in a sample, or start a beat, or someone else starts the beat. But I'll just let him control the beat, and I'll sort of have the song. Yeah, that's basically how it works. Sometimes it'll be like, cut that bit out,
Of course. Is that how it happened with Miss You Still? Who was it that brought in the sample for that one?
That kind of happened through, I wish there was a cooler story, but I went, so Japanese Wallpaper knows Bentley like a little bit. And so I went to Bentley's, I thought it was Bentley's house, but it's actually the bloke from How I Met Your Mother. Did you ever watch that show?
Josh Radnor.
Yeah. So they had a project. Yeah. So I went to his house one day to watch them like play folk music. And then Bentley had said to Japanese Wallpaper, someone should sample sample Cigarettes Will Kill You. And Japanese Wallpaper said, what about Allday, that bloke? That's how it happened. And then so I was just like, I knew, because I love that song. I love the piano. I was like, I've got to come with some good verses here and that, you know. So, yeah.
You kind of almost set it up. You said, I wish there was a better story. And then you said, I went to the guy from How I Met Your Mother's house to watch him and Bentley play folk music. That's a pretty solid story.
Yeah, so. It's just so random. Yeah, but then I finally met Bentley the other day and he was like, I didn't even realize you were there that night. He didn't even know who I was. I'm just a ghost.
Well, look, it kind of worked out how it should. You've obviously created something very special with Mrs. Still, which, samples Cigarettes Will Kill You, and it has Cub Sport as well. For the necklace, you've pulled together like a bit of a team of like features. We've got Cub Sport, we've got Vettaborn, and we've got YNG Martyr, who lovely gentlemen who we've had on the podcast before. I'm curious for you, when you are building these tracks and kind of looking at putting them on a record, how do you usually pick, I guess, who you want to feature or what song could possibly have a feature? Like what stands out to you as a defining thing of like, maybe I'll get someone onto this track?
Sometimes it's just like, I can't be bothered doing another verse. Or like it's like, or who's going to actually do the feature and like it's not going to have to sit with their manager for like 6 months. That's me. Like I get like, I know like some people are a bit more patient with that stuff, but I'm just like, no, I just want someone who's keen on work sometimes, who I actually so Young Martyr, I had done a song with him and we were sharing an engineer, shout out to Kieran, on this project, and so we just sort of had that friendship link. So he was just at my house and that kind of worked out.
The track that he features on was actually one I wanted to bring up. It was I want to say one of my favorite tracks on this new record. It is at the tail end of the record. It's a little bit more hazy, and especially for him, his verse is a little bit more subdued than I think anyone who's seen like his social videos might expect him to be. How did One Track Minded kind of come about, and what inspired that song?
It's interesting because I like that verse of his, but right now he's like in my ear. He wants to replace his verse, like last minute, like do a Kanye, like, and he's recorded another verse. So I'm like, oh god. But his other verse is cool too. I mean, to me that's like I don't know, I love like that's that silly kind of rap where it's just like, how does that chorus go? Like, for the pussy I'm one track minded. Like for me that's fun to write stuff like that for everyone to shout out. So yeah, we found a sample of something called a zither. A zither, is that how you say it? It's like a weird instrument. It's kind of like medieval, maybe. So Simon, I can't quite remember, but we found a zither sample and we just like made this dark, brooding instrumental. And by we, I mean Simon. I was just there.
You're still in the room. You're still included in this.
Yeah, I was there going, cool. Yeah, that's good. Keep it up. And that's the joint. So yeah, I'm going to tell Young Martyr you like his verse.
I think, again, it's kind of like left of field for him, but like it kind of works. I kept coming back to the track, listen to it. Well, as you just saw before, and we'll edit the original part out, but my iPad just kept playing the album even as it was just speaking then. So proof in the pudding that I've been listening to it.
Love that.
I was wondering if you could, I guess, talk us through. I know that we haven't had the opportunity to speak before, but I've always admired your work and kind of the music that you've put out. I'd love to know, I guess, where you got your interest in songwriting and like where you started kind of like putting pen to paper and kind of expressing yourself in a lyrical kind of sense.
Well, thank you. Was there a compliment in there? I forgot, but I'm saying thank you. I was thinking the other day that was like, I was on did you have a timeout seat when you were in primary school? Like when you say you got on timeout at lunch and they put you on a bench when you're like 6 or whatever. I was thinking when I was like 5 or 6, I got put on the timeout seat, and I created this song that I would sing. It was like a protest song where I would go, "We're on the timeout seat. We're on the timeout seat. We're on the timeout seat for nothing," to the teacher. And they would be like, "Stop it! You're not on the timeout seat for nothing. You're on here for don't stop singing that." So I think it was always in me to like make little songs up. By the time I heard rap music, I was like, "Damn, this is for me." I just had it in my head. This is me. When I was like 10. But then, things were kind of different because I'm 33 now. So like, early 2000s, it wasn't that easy to record. It wasn't, you had to go to a real studio or have like a lot of money to have like a home setup. So I was like 17, 18 before I ever got to record anything. But I had been writing since I was a little kid.
I know that originally an Adelaide boy, we're an Adelaide-based podcast. Back then, did you find it? Yeah, I guess it was in the early 2000s not as easy to kind of record as it is now. You can do it on your phone, your like laptop, whatever it is. How did you find that experience when you first started recording and kind of got to be able to work on your flow in terms of, I feel like sometimes you can do so much practice, but when you hear it back for the first time, that's also like a learning experience.
Yeah. I mean, I was so nervous. Like, I was in the room. I was having visions. I was like, I'm just like Biggie Smalls. I'm just like Wu-Tang in the studio and putting the headphones on. Like, damn, this is so crazy. And I was so nervous, heart beating out of my chest. Like, and when I listen to those old songs, I can hear the nerves in my voice. Like, just putting my voice up, like, out of key, but just I was just so nervous. And then there was no like, I couldn't re-record it. Whatever I put down. So yeah, I did that. My first recordings were at NSS, Northern Sound System. It's like a community centre.
Yeah,
for the Adelaide
they've done
people.
very well. Yes, it's a very specific Adelaide shout out, but obviously has done very well by yourself, and I think they've also been instrumental in Teenage Jones and their kind of career since they've become big, which is cool.
So sick. So sick.
I know that you've obviously left us in Adelaide. I know that you've been based in Melbourne, I think some time in Los Angeles, and I believe now based in the UK. How do you find, obviously, location and how it influences your music? Because the very niche Adelaide rap scene is one thing, and then I imagine that it's kind of different to all these different places that you go. How have you found, I guess, the location of where you are and how that kind of maybe changes your creative process and what you create?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it doesn't really consciously affect me that much, but I'm sure like everything you intake affects you and everything you see. I know it's funny because we have a few words, I don't know about you, but my natural pronunciation of like, I would say plant, I would say dance, but that's even like a strange regional accent for Australia, right? Because most of Australia says dance and plant.
Yeah.
So I've actually recently started being like insecure about that. I'm like, man, because I start saying, what are you saying? I'm like, maybe I need to like give myself like the common Australian accent, not the stupid Adelaide one. I love Adelaide. I'm like, God, people can't even understand me. God help me.
It is a weird, for whatever reason, we pronounce that vowel differently. We've had guests and songwriters come on here where they've then been like, well, you're British. And we're like, no, we're Australian. They said, but you say plant. And it's like, well, that's just very regional for us. So it's, I can recognise,
You've got it's an odd Adelaide accent for sure.
Yes, unfortunately.
It's all good to be a podcaster. It's great to be a podcaster with an Adelaide accent.
Look, I'll take it. It has helped us thus far, so I can't complain too much. You are going to be coming back to Adelaide to visit us in August and a number of other cities around Australia in support of The Necklace on a national tour. How are you feeling about kind of coming back and being able to play some shows?
Yeah, so good. It's been a bit, I don't know, 4 last year. I kind of was doing random shows council shows, whoever would pay me. But this year, doing the big capitals: Adelaide, Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, Perth. So starting in Adelaide, and I'm excited to do it again.
Is there a certain track off the necklace of this new record that you're looking forward to kind of debuting live for audiences?
I did Miss You Still we did a Miss You Still release party, and it sounded so good, like even compared to like some of my other songs that have done well, relatively. But yeah, it sounded that good, like, so I'm excited to play that.
Of course, it's obviously the pianos in that song are kind of massive, and so I can imagine that it elicits a response from the audience, and obviously nostalgia as well. For those who are going to be able to check out these shows, we'll make sure we put the ticket links in today's podcast show notes. Is there anything else that they can kind of expect from these shows? I guess when coming to an all-day show, and it has been a while since like a proper tour, what can kind of fans expect from these shows?
They can expect just all the songs that they want to hear, and a good time. That's, a bit of a mix of songs from all eras. I'm not good at spruiking my shit. It's a tour. If you want to come. If you don't,
it's two good points. A good time, and they will hear the songs that they want to hear. So, like, it's basic, but it's good. It works. For you, are you someone who likes to kind of mix it up a bit? I know some artists will change the arrangements on their songs, or like try and, try different instrumentation based on something else to keep it interesting for you. Because obviously, you want the crowd to be engaged, but you're the person who's up there multiple nights a week or whatever it is. You've got to also keep yourself
sane,
interested, and is there anything you do to kind of do that?
Not really. I just have a couple drinks, and I'm quite easily entertained. I'm usually having a good time. I know that like if you go to a Bob Dylan show, he sort of changes the songs so they're almost unrecognizable. But I barely change them at all, so who's better?
In fairness to you, Bob Dylan does not sound anything like he used to anymore, and so all of his songs are unrecognizable. So I'm glad that
I hope I can still be up there at 85 just going, and you always know the DJ. For some piano version in a different key.
Look, I would we're a similar age bracket. I would pay to see that while also in my 80s, so would absolutely love that. We usually ask our guests what they're currently listening to. At the moment, what is it that's kind of on high rotation for yourself?
Well, thank you for asking. I have been listening to the new, that Ravina, is that her name? Ravina? The new Waxahachie stuff, the new Claro single is cool. I'm going back through some old Bob Dylan. I'm back in a Dylan phase. And You Dropped a Bomb on Me by Gap Band. I'm running that. Just a mix.
Yeah, very, very mixed bag. I know, again, we started the chat with Waxahachie, and I know that there's been conversation of that, like, you've previously delved into indie, and with Waxahachie, with Phoebe Go, things like that. Could we ever possibly see you, when you're stretching those wings again, look at like a more folky country singer-songwriter kind of album?
Based on the album sales of the last album, perhaps not. But what I'll probably do is once I get more popular again off the rap music, then I'll start making crazy decisions like that. That's the rhythm of it. I can appreciate that. It's obviously the ebbs and flows of what lands and what doesn't, but very curious to see the fact that you are a man of many talents, and obviously of lyrical talent, and so that mixed with some of the things and artists that you've just mentioned, very curious to see if there is something that does come from that. Allday, Tom, very much appreciate your time today.
congratulations on the necklace, which is out this week. When people are listening to our chat, they'll be able to purchase the record and tickets to see you in the show notes. But thank you again for coming onto the podcast.
Simon, thank you very much. I love your podcast. I appreciate your time.
If you're taking care of a senior loved one, then you know it can be hard. Remember, it's okay to ask for help. There's a reason why 29 million families have turned to Care.com. Experienced senior caregivers can help with everything from meal prep to taking your loved one to doctor's appointments. And every caregiver you hire is background checked. So important for peace of mind. Find full-time, part-time, or even occasional help that fits your family's schedule and budget. Get the support you need with Care.com.